Sam Ward and his redoubtable wife Jen have been doing a bit of landscaping here, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity just to nick their site now they've gone home and talk about what you can do to avoid digging up services if you're digging in your garden or doing a bit of building work. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're professional or just a DIYer, there's always a chance that you're going to hit something nasty, and it could be, in the worst case, fatal. But even if it's not fatal, it could end up costing you quite a lot of money, like this poor chap who was only doing a favour for his sister, putting in a few fence posts, and it ended up costing him £20,000. So let me show you what you can do to avoid hitting those vital services. So if you've got a major project underway, whether you're hiring a digger or not, it's well worth contacting the utilities companies before you start, because if you contact the people who supply your water, your gas and your electricity, very often they will send a guy out who will just spray some paint showing you exactly where those services are lying under the ground. And if they won't do that, then sometimes they've got maps, and I've known water main maps going back over 100 years, and they can be really useful in finding out where those pipes lie. So let me just show you one other thing that you can do, which might seem like common sense, but it's amazing how many people miss this little trick. So one really good thing you can do is learn to read the ground. You see what we've got down here? We've got a cover there which says water, and that water pipe, that water main if you like, will be going up here, and probably it'll be going on a straight line. Well, actually you can see here where they've dug it up because they wanted to miss this gate post. But from that point on, I would say that if you find the stopcock indoors and follow a straight line between that stopcock indoors and this one outdoors, you're going to have the water pipe. It deviates sometimes, but most people are lazy. Let's face it, you want to take the shortest and easiest route you can. So once you've discovered where the water turns off, that's a very, very useful thing, because if you did have to hit the pipe, you can turn the water off and then get it repaired at your leisure. Now, a lot of people have their stopcock under a paving slab or buried under undergrowth, and I've been out late at night digging in people's gardens trying to find out where their water turns off. So if you know where it turns off and you remember that, that's a very useful thing indeed. So here we've got another shut off for the pipe, which suggests that the pipe is coming into the house just on that line there. Now, typically a water main is 2'6" or 750 millimeters under the ground, but you can't always rely on that. Sometimes it's as little as 18 inches deep. But if you're not going too deep, you shouldn't hit the water main. But something you may very well hit is this. This is the cable TV, and very often these are just a few inches below the ground. If you hit them, it's not the end of the world because it's not going to electrocute you, but it still is a major inconvenience and could cost you some money. So once again, look for a straight line between where your cable comes into the house and where you see it in the road. Now, this is where things start getting slightly more difficult, because we've got no external sign showing us where the gas comes in, and we also don't know where the electricity comes in. Now, you can go and hire a detection device called a Cat and GENNY. That's about £20 a day, and that will give you a signal that will allow you to trace the things like the mains cable to your house and also other metal pipes. So very useful thing to hire, comes with instructions, it's not that difficult to use. If you go and look inside your house and see where your gas comes into the house and where your electricity comes into the house, and then you take a straight line from there to the road, that's a good indication of where these services come in. Gas and electricity are going to be a lot more shallow than water. You could be looking at as little as 300 millimeters when you come across a gas pipe. Ideally they'd be deeper than that, but at that kind of depth you really want to start watching out. And if you're digging with a garden fork, don't forget that a garden fork can pierce through the armour cabling on an electricity supply, so it's very, very important you take care. You don't get this very often, but here we can see the big armoured cable coming in. That's the electric coming straight in, and I know the other side of there is the electricity meter. So that's absolutely perfect. We can take a line from that cable straight out to the road, and I reckon we'll find it. Also, we know what depth it's at, because there's the ground level, there's the cable. That would be just about spot on. So here we found the data cable that's coming in, and it's going in there. That'll be the Virgin Media cable. It's a little bit different than what I thought, because you can see where it comes in the front of the house, but it's done a dog leg and come along the boundary. Very often they put them next to a fence because it's easy just to tuck it into the fence line. So let's look for the gas. So here's a gas meter, big old beast it is too. And you can see this is where the pipe is coming through the wall. It's sleeved, that's a yellow plastic sleeve there. So the pipe is coming through the wall there. So let me go outside and see if I can work out where it is on the outside of the building. Whoa. Right down there in the corner is a pipe, and that is actually the gas pipe coming through the wall and disappearing under the ground there. So it's coming down beside this step, and I would say that if we took a line straight down there, we would finish up just about where the gas is. Now, interestingly, that would coincide with the water main as well. They're both in roughly the same position in the road. So it's quite possible that they use the same trench to put the water and the gas in. Lazy devils. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned, of course, is the drains, and if you go through the drains, they're a little bit more difficult to repair, but you should be able to avoid them because they're bigger, and if you're not going crazy, then it's quite possible you'll uncover the pipe. But to give you a clue where the pipe is, look for the manhole covers. If you can find a manhole cover, very often that's a good indication of what's going on, and you can see the pipe is running in that direction. So it's going to pick up onto that manhole cover over there, and the drain will then run out. You can tell the direction it's running in because that sweep bend there is running that way. So everything in there, you can see the fall on it, all the water is running in that direction. So far all I've done is tell you how to avoid trouble, but if the worst comes to the worst, you do hit something, do not panic. If it's electric, don't go near it, because even if it's cut the power supply off to your house, it could still be live. Those cables are live, and very often the guys that come out to repair them work on them live. Yeah, it's that scary. Although gas is alarming, it's not such a problem because it won't explode in the open air. It'll make a hell of a smell, and it's a fairly low pressure thing. A lot of guys will just wrap it up with a bit of duct tape or something like that, and then wait for the utilities company to come out and do the repair. But don't worry, in the case of gas, it's not going to blow up, it's not going to kill you, and it's very difficult to ignite. You need just the right mix of gas and air to ignite it. Water, again, bit of a mess, but again, it's not something that you should panic about because you can turn it off, and if you can't turn it off, the utilities company will turn it off, but they may not repair it. The water pipe that's on your land is your responsibility, so you may end up getting a private plumber out to do it. But of course, better than having to call those people out is to avoid the trouble in the first place. And what I would say is think, don't rush into things, and when you're digging, keep your eyes open.